Lam, Ain, Wa, Ba, Ya, Ta. دروس في العربية.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد وحييكم إخواني وأخواتي بتحية الإسلام فأقول السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته وأهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم إلى دروس في اللغة العربية. I begin in the name of Almighty Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, and I say welcome to you brothers and sisters to our program Durusun fi Lughat al-Arabiya, Lessons in Arabic, a weekly program that is produced by the 10 TV station, the Islamic network, and it is being broadcast on channel 7, Green Dot. I forgot what's the name of the next channel, but inshallah, this is a program that is continued every week, and we have completed some lessons in the reading of the Arabic language, and now we have started actually into the Arabic grammar, so that inshallah you will be able to formulate simple sentences in the Arabic language. Previously I spoke about some of the interrogatives, and you guys can see here from the last lesson we have the word man and ma. Man, which can be used as an interrogative particle, and it means who, man. Man also is a relative pronoun, but it is also used to ask a question. So you will say man, and then you have the word hadha after man, who is this. So you use man when you're inquiring about a person, and you use ma when you're inquiring about a thing other than a human being. Okay, so you use ma, like ma hadha, what is this? We spoke also about the noun, and we had already mentioned about the distinguishing characteristics of the nouns, and we would not go through that again. And we also spoke about the gender of the noun. I mentioned that there are two genders in the Arabic language, masculine and feminine, and as a general rule I mentioned that all nouns are considered to be of the masculine gender, except if they belong to certain categories. And there were 5 of them, 5 categories that were mentioned. If a noun belongs to any one of them, then they may considered, or it may be considered as a feminine noun. And such characteristics or sections of the feminine noun are those words that end with ta marbuta, that is a small ta, the ta marbuta that looks like this, the closed up ta. If a noun ends with ta marbuta, then it is a feminine noun. That is, of course, in most cases. In most cases, the noun that carries the ta marbuta. I also mentioned that ta marbuta comes only at the end of a word. It could look like this, and it could, in the attached form, it looks like this. This here is just an attachment line, and this is when it is in the isolated form, and that is because the letter before it does not allow attachment. For example, if you have the word, let's say we have this word here, sayyara. Sayyara means a car. Okay, so we have a ra. Ra does not allow attachment, so that's why the ta is written like this. But had it, if there is a word like, that has, for example, if we say, let's say for example, we have the word sa'a, which means an hour. You see the ta is written like this because this is ayn, and ayn allows attachment. So the ta is either written like this or this. So the point here that I'm making that is, if the word ends with the ta marbuta, then it is considered to be a feminine noun. And that is in most cases, not all cases, because there are exceptional words like Usama and Talha and Khalifa and so on, that points clearly that they are of the masculine gender. They're referring to male people, right? Male. But of course, other than that, if the noun, you have ta marbuta, then the noun is a feminine noun. If the word is a part of your body that you have in pairs, then it is also a feminine noun. And so you have word like yad and rijl. For example, you have the word yad, which means a hand. All right, yad or rijl. Rijl means a leg, a hand. All right, yad. Okay, so any part of your body that you have in pairs, then one of it is a feminine noun. Okay, and you have many examples of that, like you have udhun, you have ayn, all right, rijl, rukba, katif, and so on. And then you have names of places. Places are feminine also, like havihi, you say havihi instead of hadha. Remember those two demonstrative pronouns. All right, hadha, which means this, and hadhihi, also meaning this. This one is masculine, and this one is feminine. Remember them, both of them mean this. All right, so if it is a feminine noun and you are pointing out, all right, hadhihi. So you say hadhihi yad, this is a hand. Hadhihi yad. Hadhihi rijl, this is a leg. Okay, you only use hadha if you're pointing out to masculine objects. Okay, so we have two distinguishing or two characteristics of the feminine noun. And then you have names of places, as I have mentioned. Hadhihi, Port of Spain. Hadhihi, San Fernando. Hadhihi, Princeton. Hadhihi, Trinidad, and so on. Hadhihi, names of places. Okay, so we have places, feminine. And then you also have, if the word indicates that it is of the feminine gender, then it is a feminine noun. For example, the word means mother. Okay, so we don't need any distinguishing word or letter to tell us whether it is masculine or feminine. The meaning already indicates that it is of the feminine gender, and likewise the word bint, which means a girl or a daughter. So if the meaning indicates the femininity of the word, then it is already feminine. And then you have some exceptional words. The Arabs have used them like that, and they are feminine. They are used in the Quran as feminine nouns, and then we don't know, there is no indication why they are considered to be of the feminine gender, so we just say that they are exceptional words. So there are 5 categories. If a noun belongs to any one of them, then the noun will be of the feminine gender. So again, I say all nouns are considered to be of the masculine gender, except if the noun belongs to any one of these 5 categories. Today, inshallah, we'd like to talk about the number. All right, the number meaning whether noun you have singular and plural. In the English language, of course, we have 2 numbers. You have singular and we have plural. In the Arabic language, we have 3 numbers. So a noun could either be, so we have a noun, you could either be singular or plural. So singular meaning 1 and plural means 3 or more than 3. And here you have dual. Dual means 2 and only 2. Okay? So in the Arabic language, the noun can either be singular, that is only 1, and you have dual. Dual means 2 and only 2. Okay? 2. 2 is not considered to be plural. In English language, 2 is plural. As long as it is more than 1, it is plural. In the Arabic language, 2 is only 2. Okay? And then we have 3 and more than 3. Okay? 3, and let's say plus more than 3 will be plural. Okay? So it is important for us to know how the noun is in terms of the number. All right? The number. And the singular noun, well, we have examples of it. For example, we have bab, which means a door, bab, okay, bab, a door, okay. Now we want to look today at the dual, how it is that you recognize or you would make a noun dual too. For example, in the Arabic language, we have the numbers, the ordinal numbers, and you have the cardinal numbers. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So if you want to say one door or a door, you just say bab, bab. You want to say a book, you just say what? Kitab, meaning a book. Okay? You want to say a pen, you have the word qalam. All right? And so on. And these are words, of course, you already know them from before. Now, if you want to say 2 doors, you do not say ifnan, which means 2, because wahid is 1, and ifnan means 2. So you don't say bab ifnan or ifnan bab. You don't say that. Okay? The Arabs don't ever say that. What they do is they take the singular form, and you add the suffix of alif and noon with a kesra there. So we have singular noun plus ani equals to dual. Okay? The singular noun plus ani equals to the dual. So we have a singular noun. Let's say, for example, let's start with this one, bab, which means a door. If we want to say 2 doors, we take the singular noun, which is bab. Okay, bab. All right, let me use the red so that it becomes distinguished from the other letters. And then we add alif and noon. Alif and the noon. All right, so it becomes what? Ba, ba, ni. Babani, meaning 2 doors. Babani. Okay, so if you want to say 2 doors, you do not say ifnan bab. What do you say? Babani. So in other words, if you have to form the dual, you must know the singular. All right, you must know the singular. You can't say, well, you know 2 boys and you don't know how to say 1 boy. All right. Likewise, so if you have the word kitab, kitab means a book, and we want to say 2 books, we take the singular noun kitab, kitab, okay, and we add alif and noon, and it now becomes, the word becomes kitabani. Kitabani means 2 books. 2 books. It's a very easy system of making the noun in the dual form. Likewise, if you have the word qalam, you want to say 2 pens, it will be what? I hope, inshallah, you will be able to get the answer for 2 pens. Qalam is the singular, so 2 pens will be qalaman, qalamani, qalama. You just add alif and noon, qalamani, 2 pens. That is how easy the dual form is. Okay. Now we move on to the plural. Okay, the plural. So I can erase this now. Okay. The plural, first of all, we have to know that the plural are of 2 kinds. Okay. One is called sound plural, and the next one is called the broken plural. There is a reason why the plural is called a sound plural, and there is also a reason why it is called the broken plural. Okay? The sound plural is subdivided into 2. One is masculine, and the next one is feminine. Okay, feminine. Masculine and feminine. The masculine form, okay, is formed by the singular noun and then we have plus the suffix of una. O. Now, there is a dhamma before the waw. The waw is sakina. Okay? That is for masculine nouns. But wait a minute. This is not like all nouns you can do this to. You cannot take the word bab, okay, which means a door, and then you go una. What would you end up with? Babuna. Like the word baboon. It doesn't work like that. Kitab, you can't say kitab and then kitabuna. It doesn't work like this. So how am I going to know what kind of nouns or which noun am I allowed to go with una to the end? There are some special nouns, okay? Not all nouns. And this is not something that is strange. We have in the English language also words that, you have some nouns you may add an S to make it plural. Some of them you may have to add ES. Some of them you may have to drop off the Y and add IES. And you have different, like you have the words, some of them may change one letter, all right, like man, you have men, and so on. So those nouns you have, how did we know which one is which, and how did we learn the plural of all of these nouns? Okay? And why it is that, for example, we say house, and we want the plural, we say houses. And if you have the word mouse, you don't have mices or, mouses, for example. You have mice, and so on. So then there is a difference, okay? We have the same thing in the English language. Okay, now, so you look here and you see that the Arabic is a little bit more organized, that we have the sung plural and we have a broken plural. Then we are told that the sung plural is subdivided into two, masculine nouns and feminine nouns. So if the noun is a masculine noun, then we will add the una, but not any masculine noun, because babun is a masculine noun, kitab is a masculine noun, qalam is a masculine noun. Okay? So how am I going to know which kind of masculine noun am I allowed to add una? All right? That is what I want for you to keep tuned to, because we're going to take a break now, and when we come back, inshallah, we are going to look at which kind of nouns we are allowed to add the una, so that it will become the sound masculine plural noun. All right? Let's take a break now. Allahu, Allahu, Ya Rabbi, Ya Allah. Allahu, Ya Rabbi, Ya Allah.
When we can do Qurbani, right, and we can get our family involved in the Qurbani, and we could come together with them, it's a great thing, because that's a moment of a unique moment for all of us when we involve in doing this thing for the pleasure of Allah.
There are three main bodies of the Jews, right? There's the Orthodox Jews, the Reformed Jews, and the Conservative Jews. And they all have different opinions about what could be allowed as kosher and so on. For example, the Reformed Jews, they allow the skin of the pig to be kosher. So you'll find some gelatin, kosher gelatin, made from pig skin. And that's why kosher gelatin, we don't allow it even in things like Yoplait yogurt.
So sometimes people have wealth, in the bank, in a fixed deposit. And, together with that money in the bank, their own money, let's call it the capital, the amount they put in, there would have been a lot of interest on that. Now, zakat cannot be paid on that interest, because if you do that, you will be paying zakat on haram wealth.
O you who believe, save yourselves and your families from the fire of hell.
The Sharia states that the Muslim is one who submits his total will to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Allah says in the Holy Quran, Kullu nafsin za'iqatul maut. Every soul shall have a taste of death. That is a reality.
The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in a nutshell, as a prerequisite even for those words, that we would say the kalima La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.
And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, whoever learns knowledge in order to boast and brag and to debate and argue with those who don't have knowledge and to show their knowledge to those who do, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says they can kindle their place in the fire of Jahannam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us.
Say, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, say to the mu'mineen, say to the Muslimin, that if you make a claim that you love Allah Rabbul Izzah, then follow my footsteps, subhanallah. Follow the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Welcome back to Darut Tarbiyah, the Islamic Network News Review. On our details, Mark Bowden, outgoing United Nations Humanitarian Coordinator for Somalia, has called for increased international aid to the Horn of Africa nation.
First kalimat tayyibah la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Prophet Ibrahim as a young boy was brought up in an environment of idols and idol worship. Even his own father used to make and worship idols.
I understand your distress, but their soldiers did not give us any chance. They made a sudden attack upon us in our ambuscade and took over our weapons and gear and captured our best soldiers.
This is God's will, and we must not object it. This is God's right, who created us, showered us with His goodness, and gave us all these blessings.
Muhammadun Rasulullah. الكون يا شمس الدجى قل لي بماذا أستقي كلماتي قل لي لعل الشعر يعجز من
Marhaba, marhaban, marhaba means welcome. We are talking about the noun and we are talking about the number of the noun. I just indicated a while ago that the noun has three numbers: singular, dual and plural. I spoke a while ago about the dual form, and the dual form is made up of the singular and adding the suffix of alif and noon. Okay, and then I went on to talk about the plural and mentioning that the plural is subdivided into sound and broken. The sound is now again subdivided into two: masculine and feminine. All right, the broken plural has many forms. Okay, there are many forms of the broken plural. Okay, we would not be talking about the broken plural in the next few lessons. The broken plural, we can talk about that in some later lessons, insha'Allah ta'ala. All right, but we want to concentrate on the sound plural, and we are looking right now at the masculine sound plural. Okay, and I stated a while ago that it is formed by taking the singular noun and adding the waw and the noon at the end. But which kind of masculine noun? These are all masculine nouns here, but none of them we are allowed to add the waw and the noon to them. Okay, there are two kinds of masculine nouns that we are allowed to do so. One of them, all right, both of them actually, they are called or referred to the active participle. nouns that are of the active participle. And for some of you, I know you have forgotten these English terminologies or English grammar terms, but the active participle is that noun that is formed from the verb by the addition of the suffix er or or. Okay? So take, for example, we have the word, it's an English word. We have the word teach, which is a verb. Teach, that's a verb. And we want to form a noun from this verb. So we add er, a suffix, er, all right? And it becomes teacher. Teacher is a noun, okay? So again, this is called the active participle. So it is the noun that is formed from the verb by the addition of the suffix er. In some cases, it could be or, right? For example, instruct, and you have instructor, or, all right? And so on. Manage, manager, all right? Now, how it is we can recognize a noun that is of the active participle in the Arabic language? How am I going to know that? In the English, okay, we know that. But how it is that I'm going to recognize such nouns in the Arabic language? So now there are two ways of recognizing the noun that is of the active participle. One way is that you would notice that after the first letter of the word, okay, you would notice that there is an alif. You would notice that there is an alif after the first letter. And then you would notice that there is a kasra for the second to last letter. Okay? So I'm highlighting those two important points that I'm making. Okay? Two important points, I'm putting them in red so that you could remember what I'm talking about. So this is active participle. Okay, the active participle. Hafiz. Hafiz. Hafiz means one who has memorized. Hafiz also means a protector. All right, and it is also referred to amongst Muslims. Hafiz is one who has memorized the complete Quran from cover to cover. All right, there are millions, actually millions of people around the world, millions of Muslims who have memorized the Quran from the very beginning, you open it, to the end of it. Everything they have memorized. You just tell them to recite and they will just remember it and recite for you from memory. Such individuals, they are called, that one of them is called Hafiz. Hafiz. So if we want the plural of such a noun that has these two distinguishing characteristics, one is after the first letter you would notice that there is an alif, and then there is a kasra for the second to last letter. There will be a kasra, and of course it must be a noun because we are talking about nouns. All right, we are talking about nouns. We are not talking about a verb. Okay, they are verbs that may resemble a noun. They may have an alif after the first letter, but it will not have the tanween. Okay, so we know that this word is a noun because it has tanween. Remember we spoke about the nouns and we talk about some of the distinguishing characteristics of the noun, and one of those elements is that it could end with a tanween. So it is a noun. So now if we want the plural for hafiz, it's a singular noun, we just add the suffix of una. So now the word will become what? Hafizuna. When we do that, of course, the tanween must disappear because tanween only comes at the end of a word, and that is something that I had indicated in one of the previous lessons. Hafizuna. Hafizuna. All right? Hafizuna. Okay? Hafidhuna means protectors. And so this word also has another plural, which is also referred as huffaz. Huffaz. Huffaz is also another plural. Some words may have more than one plural. Huffaz. All right? Huffaz. Referring to those people who have memorized the Quran from cover to cover. Huffaz. All right? In the English language, we also have words may have more than one plural. Like, for example, you have the word brother. We could say brothers, or we could say brethren. Both of them are plural. All right? So you may have one word with more than one plural, and that the Arabic language is very rich in that regards. You know, we have different ways. Okay, let's look at some other examples of other words that may have that same thing. All right, I'm going to erase all of this, so we'll have some more space to write. Okay, so we have the word hafiz. Let's take another example. This word, this is the letter kaf. We have an alif here, and then we have the second to last letter has a kasra. Katibun. All right, katib. Katib means a writer. All right, a writer. And this word katib is a derivative of the root word. Inshallah, we will talk about the verb sometime later on. All right, how we get derivatives, and there are many ways of formulating the derivatives, and derivatives are normally formed from, addition of prefix, suffix, infix, and so on. All right, I forgot to mention that we will be opening the lines, and I think we have a call. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Hello.
Hello, wa alaikum salam.
Yes, do you have a question?
Yeah, the word hafiz, right?
Yes.
What would be the dual for it?
Okay. Very good, very good. Did you miss out the dual? So we have the word hafiz. Look at it carefully. Any other question?
No.
All right. Thank you very much for your call, and just look on the board and you will see.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. So we have the word hafiz, which means one person who has memorized the Quran, for example. Now we want two. So we just follow the rule. All right, we just follow the rule. And the rule is, if you want to form the dual, you add an alif and a noon. So it becomes what? Hafidhani. 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 Hafidhani will be two. All right? And one of the ways of knowing or recognizing that also is that if you were to take away the alif and noon, you will get back the singular form. All right? Take away the alif and noon, you get back the singular. And likewise, you take out the waw and the noon, you get back the singular form. All right? And that is one of the conditions of the dual and the plural. The condition is that if were you to remove the suffix, you must regain the singular form. As a beginner, of course, you may not know the singular form and so on, but it will take some time. But these are the guidelines for this dual and the plural. Okay, so I want to just make a quick recap of that point that I have just made, and that is the noun that we can form the plural with, which is the sung masculine plural. All right, the sung masculine plurals. We have this acronym, sung masculine plural. Okay, is that we must have the singular noun, and we add the suffix of the waw and the noon. Waw and noon. And so far I have mentioned that such nouns that we are allowed to form this kind of plural from are nouns that will have an alif after the first letter and the second to last letter will have a kasra. Okay? But only then we are allowed to add a waw and a noon. So we have the word katib, which means a writer. Okay? And we want to say writers. How do we get writers? We just remove the tanween. Tanween only comes at the end of a word. And not all nouns carry tanween. And we just add, make the ba a little shorter. Alright? And we add the waw and the noon. So it becomes what? Katibuna. And notice that this is a noun, but it doesn't have a tanween. So not all nouns carry tanween. This is also a noun. This is the dual form. This one has a kasra here. Okay? So a noun may have a fatha, it may have a kasra, it could have tanween, you know. They have different things that we have according to the kinds of nouns. So katibuna means writers. Okay, let's put an S here. So we have writers now. Take away the A. Writers. Okay? So that is one way of recognizing the active participle. How do we recognize the active participle? Alif after the first letter and the second to last letter has a kasra. Alright, this was not here. This is the last letter, the ba. Second to last is this. So you have a kasra. Okay? Okay, we move on now to another noun, which is also the active participle, but it is not the same way. And that is because we have different kinds of verbs in the Arabic language, and this is why I told you that this one is formed from this verb. You have other kinds of verbs. All right, we will talk about verbs, inshallah, in one of the later lessons. We will talk about verbs. Another type of noun is the one that begins with, and I'm going to start it with the red here. It's a meme with a dhamma. Okay? And then you have, let's use a word that most of everybody knows. Okay? Second to last letter, a kasra again. Okay? You know that word? Mus. Mim dhamma is mu. Joined to the sin. Sakina. Sin sakina. You have a syllable here. Mus. Lam kasra li. Mus li. Mim tanwin dhamma mun. Muslimun. Muslim. You say Muslim. Means a Muslim. A Muslim. If we want to say two Muslims, very easy. Two Muslims, remove the tanween, add alif, and we add noon. Okay? We have Muslimani, two Muslims. Muslimani, two Muslims. And if we want to say many Muslims, that will be three and more. Muslimani means only two Muslim. Muslimun, one Muslim, only one single Muslim. Okay? Two Muslims, Musliman, and we want three and more, we will say what? Muslimun. Muslimun. There's a dhamma here. If dhamma goes with the waw, we have a fatha there. Muslimun. Muslimun means many Muslims. Okay? So it's very easy. So how do we recognize the type of nouns? We say that the noun must begin with a mim dhamma, mim madmuma, and the second to last letter kasra. All right. So we make a little note for the active participle. Active participle. We have an alif after the first letter, and we have kasra second to last letter. And then we have, next way is mim dhamma, and we have second to last letter with a kasra. All right? If you could remember these two things, inshallah, then you have no problem. Two kinds of two different ways of recognizing the active participle. They all come under the same heading, but they could be recognized two different ways. The active participle, right? That doesn't look too easy to follow, but remember what I just told you. Mim, Dhamma, second to last letter, the Kesra. Okay, let's look at another example of a word that begins with Mim, Dhamma. We have Mu. All right. As long as the word follows Mu, the rule what we just mentioned. This is a word Mu, Han, and we have a Kesra there. All right. Kesra here. Mu, Han, di, sun. Muhandisun. Muhandis. All right. Muhandis. This. Muhandis means an engineer. An engineer. All right. An engineer. Muhandis. So we want to say two engineers. It will be Muhandi Sani. So if we want to add on Alif and Noon, how am I going to add Alif to this? First of all, remove the Tanween. Secondly, change the shape of this scene. Alright? Attachment line. Alif and Noon. Muhandisani. Good? And if we want to say many engineers, alright? We have say Mu Han Di Su Na. Mu Han Di. Where is the scene? Scene is missing. Okay? Su Na. Muhandi Suna. Alright? Muhandi Suna. So this is a very easy rule and it's not difficult. You can follow the rule. That is how you formulate. And then you will learn later on how it is that sometimes the alif may change to a ya and the waw will also change to a ya. Alright, you have Muslimin. Alright, Muslimun, or you may have Muslimin. If you want to say two Muslims, you say Musliman. Or it could be Muslimain. For example, in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about Prophet Ibrahim, and he said, Rabbana waj'alna muslimaini laka wa min dhurriyatina ummatan muslimatan lak. Alright, that's when Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, he and his son Ismail, they were building the Kaaba, and he made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, begging him to make he and his son two people who submit and surrender themselves to him. Alright, so that's it for the numbers for today. We only talk about the sound masculine plural. We did not talk about the sound feminine plural, and it is called the sound plural because the singular form of the noun remains intact. It has not been disturbed. It was not shuffled. Alright, it was not broken up. In other cases, you have plurals and the letters might be shifted by infix and prefix and so on. Alright, or suffix. But whereas in the sound masculine or the sound plural, the singular remains intact. See, you take away that, you still get back your singular. Okay? But in other plurals, take for example, you have the word qalam, and you have the plural for qalam is what? Aqlam. Aqlam, from the word, look at this. Qalam means a pen, and aqlam means pens. But look at this word. We have an alif before, then we have a lam here, and then we have an alif here again. You know, it's different. We have the word bait, which means a house, and the plural is buyut. Alright? So we have like that. So you have, these are broken plurals, alright, different ways. But for the sung plural, the sung, because the singular remains intact in the plural, And in the dual, the singular form is still there. All right, we take a break, inshallah. When we come back, we will be going and continuing on the possessive pronoun. We will see how we can use some other possessive pronouns. In the previous lesson, we talked about the my, and we will want to see how we can say your and his and her. All right, so stay tuned, don't go too far. You'll be back in a short while.
Our father and our mother as people are the absolute supreme, most important people in our lives. More important to us in our living lives, because if the Prophet ﷺ was alive, then he would have been more important. But outside and past his death, it is our parents that take that position. You know that respect is gained when you can say one word and everyone knows who that person is. And that's the obvious, of course, that's the aim of all public relations companies. They get paid millions and millions to be able to create that brand name. So you just say that person's name and it's recognized and understood. Well, you know, subhanAllah, we have the same thing. We have the same thing. They said Abdullah is Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu. No need to tell us anymore.
هذا القرآن يوحدنا لطريق الخير يوجهنا الله تعالى أنزله ورسول الله معلمنا
We know that when we die, where will we go? Our bodies, the Muslims believe, our bodies will not just become rotted and we will go into thin air and nothing will happen to us. We as Muslims believe that we will go in the world of barzakh. It is like a waiting place, the world of the grave, and there can be torment of the grave, or there can be peace and tranquility, sleeping comfortably until Yawm al-Qiyamah. Subhanallah, seeing the windows, a window that shows us the Jannah, inshallah. Ameen.
You held my hand to steady me till I was ready to make a stand on my own 2 feet while my world was crumbling down, and you tried your best to shelter me from the coming of the storm. You opened my eyes to see that all hope was not gone.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum. Welcome, brothers and sisters, as we continue with our last segment here, Durusun fi Lughat al-Arabiyyah, from the Tin TV station. And I want to talk now about the possessive pronoun. I spoke briefly about the possessive pronoun in one of the previous classes, and it was about the letter Ya, which carries a sukoon, and before the Ya there is a kasra. Okay? The possessive pronoun, of course, there must be a noun before, because it shows possession, all right, and you possess the noun. So here we put noun, and we have add this, and this gives you the meaning of my. This here means my, and whatever the noun is, my noun. Good. So we have kitab, which is noun, and if it is my, we add the ya, so we change the shape of the ba like this. Okay, and we have the ya. So it becomes kitabi. Kitabi means my book. Kitabi, my book. Okay, so my. Supposing now we want to say your book. If you want to say your book, instead of my book, you want to say your book. So we're looking at another possessive pronoun, and that is the letter kaf. Ka or ki. Alright, let's say ka means your. That's masculine. I'm going too far. We have calf and we have calf. Okay? Ka, ki. Both of them mean your. You could also have kum. All of them mean your. This one here is masculine and singular. This one is feminine singular. This is masculine plural, and this is feminine plural. And you also have one more, probably fit it inside here. Kuma. This is dual. Alright? All of them means your. In the Arabic language, you have each one for a different person. Okay, so it becomes very specific. Okay, so now if you have a noun, let's say for example you have the word qalam, which means pen. Qalamun. And I want to say your pen, you're talking to a male, one person, singular. And you want to say your pen, remove the tanween, and you just put the kaf. Becomes qalamuka. You're addressing a female person, becomes qalamu ki. Alright? Qalamuki for female. Qalamukuma. Qalamukum. Qalamukunna. Right? Masculine plural, feminine plural. It's very easy. You just have to remember these endings to know how to attach it to the noun. I had mentioned previously that even though in the English language we have your as one word, and then you have the noun as another word, two words, in the Arabic language they seem to be one word, like because it is attached. But really and truly it is the pronoun that is attached to the noun. And notice where the pronoun comes. It comes after the noun. Alright? In the English language the pronoun comes first, the possessive pronouns comes first, and then you have the noun. Your pen. Okay? In the Arabic language you have the noun come in before the pronoun. Qalam is the noun, and then we have the pronoun, and the pronoun is attached. Okay? So what we need to do is to memorize these endings or these pronouns. Okay? So we have ka, ki, right? Kuma for two. Remember we said we have three numbers. So you have singular, and we have the dual, and we have plural. Okay, two of them are plural. So if we look on this side, this is singular, this is dual, and these two here, they are plural. Right? Notice with all of them, you have a kaf, 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 kaf. They all begin with kaf. This one has a fatha for masculine, kesra for feminine. This one is kuma, and we have kum. and here is kunna. Okay, kunna. Those are the possessive pronoun for the second person. All right. Inshallah, we will go over this for the next class. Next week we will have a revision of this, and I will write it I'll write it a little bit neater. All right. I know my writing looks a little bit scrappy today. All right. And then we will also have the third person. But I don't want to give you too much of lesson, and you will say it is difficult, it is hard to follow, and it's too much of work and so on. I don't want to make it difficult. I have to encourage you, and you also have to encourage me. You can call in. The number is on the screen. Call in if you have any problems. If you don't understand anything, you could just call in, and inshallah I will be willing to answer your question. All right. So let me just make a quick recap of the possessive pronoun. So we have the first person, and then we have second person. Okay, and then you will have the third person. This is the proper way we should learn it. For the first person, you could have the singular, and you have the dual, and we have plural. All right? And now we will talk about each one of them. Yes, we have a call. Assalamu alaikum. Hello.
Walaikum assalam.
Yes, do you have a question?
Hello.
Yes, do you have a question?
Yeah. Leg. How you pronounce leg?
Leg? The word for leg?
Yes.
Okay. Rijl. Let me write it for you. Ra, Jim, and Lam. Jazakillahu khairan. Rijlun. Thank you, sister, for calling in. Rijlun. Okay. Rij, Ra joined to the Jim. Ra carries a kasra. So it's Rij, and then Lam tanween dhamma, Lun. Rijlun. Okay. And of course, the Arabs don't pronounce the ending. If it is the last word in your sentence, in your speech, this last vowel is ignored. Okay, we just end with the sound of the last letter. So the letter is lam, so the sound of the lam is l. So rijl, rijl. Okay, that is normal in the language. All right, the last vowel is normally ignored even though it is there. Only ignored when it happens to be the last letter of your sentence. Okay, the last letter in your speech. We can see it right here in Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We have a kasra for the meme. What we do not say, he, me. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Me. We don't say me. We just go, we take the sound of the letter meme. We just get the sound of the letter meme, which is m. So, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. It has a fatha on the noon, and so on. So, rijl. Okay, thank you. We continue, we come back here for, we're looking at singular, dual, plural. Okay, so for the first person singular, which is my, we add a ya, sukoon, and there's a kasra here before. The last letter of the noun will carry a kasra. And this means my. Here we have none. Dual. Possessive pronoun, dual form, we have nothing. And for the plural, we have a noon and an alif, which means our. Okay? So let's look at some example. We have the word bait, which means house. Baitun means a house. A house. I want to say my house. How do I say that? I take the word bite, okay, bite, and I add ya, which is my, add a ya, put a sukun. Baiti means my house. See how easy it is? Very easy. We want to say our house, take the word bite again, and add noon alif. Baytuna. Okay, a dhamma. Okay? Here we have a kesra. The reason why we have a kesra is because ya goes with the kesra. Okay? Ya, the most suitable vowel for the vowelless ya is the kesra. Okay? That is why we have a kesra here. Here we have a dhamma. So it's baytuna. Baytuna Jamil, our house is beautiful. Baytuna Kabir. We will talk about some of those words, inshallah, in our next class. So this is how we have the noun, and we add these suffix, and we have the possessive pronoun. We attach them to it, and that's how easy it is. You take your noun, whatever the noun is, and you add the ya to make it my. You add na to make it our. Good. For the second person, as I have just indicated, you have kaf with a fatha, you have kaf with a kesra, then you have kaf, mim alif, kuma, and then you have kum, and then you have kunna. All of them. And they all mean, all of them here, they mean your. Because it's second person, so it's your. We're talking about possessive pronoun. Okay? This one here is masculine singular. This is feminine singular. What makes them different? Just this vowel. Fatha is for masculine, kesra for feminine. Kuma is dual form. Kum, masculine, plural. Kunna, feminine, plural. All of them mean your. So if you take your noun, if you say your house, you have bait again, bait, and you have the kaf. Baytuka, your house. So if I say this is my house and this is your house, هذا بيتي وهذا بيتك. All right, our time is up. It's 9 o'clock. I want to thank you very much for viewing our program today, and inshallah I will be continuing with you next week right here at the Tin television station. Jazakumullah khairan, shukran, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.